This is why you should never abandon your old toys. Once there was an old toy store, and on the top shelf in the back of this toy store was a doll. Every day this doll watched as people came into the store, but no one ever paid any attention to it, until one day its dreams came true. One girl named Lena came into the store and bought the doll, but things quickly took a terrifying turn. Although Lena liked the doll in the beginning, she quickly grew sick of it. Days and months passed and she ended up abandoning the doll like a piece of trash, until eventually Lena got into a fight with her mother when she said, "I never wanted the stupid doll anyways," but of course she could have never known the terrifying consequences this would lead to. One night as Lena slept in her bed, she heard a creaking noise. Then the noise moved closer and closer, until Lena's mother heard a scream coming from her bedroom. When she came in, she saw Lena on the ground, but it was how she looked that terrified her mother the most. Lena's arms and legs were bent in strange positions like a disjointed doll. Her mouth was sewn shut, but she looked desperately up at her mother, then to her desk, and on her desk was a note that said, "Now you know what it's like to be a doll."
This is Mandy. She's said to be one of the most haunted dolls to ever exist. I feel like I say this about every doll, but it's true. Nobody really knows where Mandy came from. She was either made in Germany or England between 1910 and 1920. This doll is now kept at a museum in Canada. A woman who donated the doll to the museum said the doll was actually a gift from her grandmother. As soon as Mandy was taken into the museum, she began showing strange behavior. The doll is kept inside a plastic bag, and people who worked at the museum said they would hear the freaking bag making this weird noise as if the doll was moving inside of it trying to break free. Now how creepy is that? So they thought maybe there were some bugs inside, but there were no bugs at all. Not a single one. When she was out of the bag, they hired a photographer just to show the doll in the catalog. But right after that, her mood completely changed. It genuinely looked as if a child had thrown a tantrum, scattering papers and other objects. So at this point, they already knew she was haunted. They were scared of her and they would try to make her happy. They put her at the entrance hoping she'd be happy about that. But people started complaining, saying that the doll was she looked very disturbing. She was just freaking them out. People started reporting nightmares, headaches, and they began blaming Mandy. They said looking at her was bringing up this uneasy feeling like they'd never felt before. She wasn't very happy about this. So not long after, employees started reporting paranormal activity, such as footsteps when nobody was there. It would usually be after hours. Electrical disturbances also happened, and things would just mysteriously disappear and wind up in different places. Important items as well. So they thought maybe she wasn't happy at that one museum, so they just sent her to a new one, but that only made things worse. They started to believe she was maybe lonely and put her in a room with other dolls. But on the next day, all the dolls had been torn up and damaged in various ways. They would also hear a child sobbing, and whenever they would go check, nobody would be there but Mandy. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow for more.
So guys, this is the most haunted object that we have here at Malvern Manor, but this is what we call Ginger. She is so haunted, in fact, that we actually had to reach out to the Vatican they were kind enough to send us this holy water here, and even this really cool rosary as well.
It was blessed by the Pope.
These were absolutely blessed by the Pope, yes. So I mean, again, like, she stays in the case. She will move throughout the case, obviously. She'll put herself in some very unladylike positions as well. But this is definitely the most haunted object that we have.
And people get almost an evil vibe from her.
Very much so.
And she has scratched, attacked.
She is very malicious, for sure.
Jumped off of a table.
She has jumped off tables and moved rooms.
Wow. We're definitely going to have to play with her tonight. Creepy.
Absolutely.
Ding dong, I know you can hear me. Open up the door. I only wanna play a little. Ding dong, you can't keep me waiting. It's already too late for you to try another way. I see you through the window. Our eyes are linked together. I can sense your horror.
This family accidentally bought a haunted doll. On Christmas of 2013, a Houston area girl was gifted an Elsa doll, and all was well until it wasn't. The doll recited phrases from the movie Frozen and sang Let It Go whenever you pressed a little button on its necklace. After 2 years, the doll began changing languages randomly. Although a little creepy, the family thought it was a glitch. Even when the doll was switched off, it would still sing on its own. Things started to move around the house by themselves, TVs turning off and on and lights flickering. And it all started with the doll, so they would dispose of it. But every time they did, she would eventually return in random areas of the house. So the family decided they would mail that doll to a friend in Minnesota, but without a return address. The doll had arrived to their friend, and he was well aware of the history this doll had, so he would decide to strap the doll onto the brush guard of his Jeep. The doll no longer sings on its own, but even without the doll, strange things continue to happen in that family's house.
The demon doll was found in Jurong West in 2014. Apparently, the doll was found under a block smoking a cigarette. It was a black doll with horns and patches of hair. Didn't look like a child's doll at all. Netizens speculate it could be a product of black magic. Apparently, some of the passerbys who saw the doll fell sick the same day. Nobody has seen the doll again, and there's only one picture that exists.
Hi everyone, I'm Quinn, and I'm going to be sharing a bit of my haunted doll Amelia's story that I figured out so far. So, Amelia lived around the time of Abraham Lincoln's presidency. She remembers Abraham Lincoln dying sometime around the time she was living. This means her birthday may date all the way back to 1851, but my friend and I are feeling more that it's around 1856 or 1857. Amelia had a mother who was caring, and 4 siblings, 2 boys and 2 girls. She was only 10 years old when she was a middle child. She was eventually the last to be by her father's hand. After her father ended up dumping them into some kind of body of water off of a boat.